Welcome travelers, Flowcat here, excited to bring you this video today. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say I'm aware it's pretty clickbaity, the title and everything, but there is some really good value in this video, so stick around and watch it. I learned a lot of this stuff because I'm active in Discord and I see a lot of players make these mistakes and need to learn these lessons. Make sure you learn them early. Other than that, I'm sure many of you are aware that Arataki Ito and Goro come out soon. I'm gonna have a pretty hype live stream for summoning them. I hope to see you, a lot of you there. Join my Discord, link in the description. We've got a friendly, supportive community looking to grow. With all that being said, let's get into the video. Welcome to the video. Before we jump into the first tip, I do have an admission to make. These aren't so much tips as they are topics that late game players understand pretty dang well. And if you learn to understand them too, it'll prevent you from falling into massive pitfalls, as well as make sure that your account is progressing well. It'll help you 36-star that abyss as quickly as possible, is basically what I'm saying. With that out of the way, let's jump into the first topic, resin efficiency. Resin is something that we all have to deal with in Genshin Impact because it limits your progression. It's something that we all wish we could have an unlimited amount of, but until Mihoyo increases the refresh rate or gives us some more resin, we just have to learn to use our resin as efficiently as possible. A lot of this information that I am using, I got from SEKAPOKO, who has some fantastic videos going into the nitty-gritty of the math of this stuff. If you're interested in that, I'll have those videos linked in the description. But if you're not interested in that, I can break down that information into some simple tips for you that are pretty easy to follow. The first tip in this category is to understand exactly what order to upgrade your units in. What I mean by this is when you're building a new unit in Genshin Impact, what should you focus on first? First, you should focus on the level of your unit. Bring them to at least level 80 out of 80, but I do recommend taking them to 80 out of 90 because that is a sizable stat boost for a lot of units. Next, you want to focus on leveling up their talents. Bring their talents to at least 666 if you're using them as a DPS, and as a support, most often it's just 166 that you need. From there, build up their weapons. Make sure that you bring their weapons to level 90. That is a very, very good thing to do. If you're struggling for resources, you can leave them at 80 and then go back and 90 your weapons later once you have the essentials built up. Lastly is when you want to focus on artifacts as well as upgrading them for your units. The reason for this is that artifact RNG is terrible. It's way more brutal than anything else in Genshin Impact. You're going to spend at least twice as much resource like Resin and Mora upgrading your artifacts and kitting out your units than you will on their levels, weapons, and talents combined. It's kind of crazy, but when you're first building a unit, make sure to level them up, build up their talents, focus on their weapon, and after that, dump as much resin as you can into their artifacts. This leads right into the first pitfall that I wanted to cover in this video. It's a mistake I see a lot of people make, and it's super common. A lot of people fall into the hype train for their favorite main DPS, and they'll spend 2, 3, 4 months in a domain farming for that artifact that they really, really want for their main DPS unit. Unfortunately, after a certain point with artifact farming, you're actually farming for minimal gains, and the chances of you getting those minimal gains are super low. So much so that it's way more worth it for you to farm other domains, build up your team's total utility and damage through other means. And for you low AR players out there, I know resin doesn't seem super important when you're like AR 20 and 30, but make sure you farm world bosses for those level up materials, talent book domains, or even just farm ley lines for EXP books. Those will help you out in the long run. I'm sure it's stated in a lot of other guides, but I just want to be very clear that artifact farming doesn't start until AR 45. The reason for this is that you're not guaranteed 5-star artifact drops until AR 45. So up until that point, it's really not important to be focusing on those artifact domains. That brings us to the end of this first topic, which is basically just to say, make sure you build your units in the correct order. Don't focus on the artifacts until everything else is looking really good on that unit. I see a lot of people fall into the trap of farming artifacts way before they need to. This can be a huge waste of resin and a huge waste of time. Topic number 2 is team building. This is something that I really want to talk about a little more often on my channel because I know we all get super obsessed with individual units in Genshin Impact, but it is fundamentally a team building game. No one unit is going to solve all of your problems, and no one unit is going to carry you through the whole game. We've seen in the first year of Genshin Impact's release that Spiral Abyss will have a number of different confusing or troubling mechanics that we have to work around. The only way to work around those mechanics is to build different teams and have a variety of setups at your disposal. And because people care so much about like one individual unit, I think this is why a lot of people forget or don't really want to learn about the team building in Genshin Impact. It's like, why would I want to play anyone other than the one unit that I love? Right? Well, I totally understand that, and you should try to play your favorite units as much as you possibly can. Building out your supports and understanding proper team building will really let you squeeze all of the potential out of that unit that you care so much about. You can find a million guides on YouTube about team building, but if you're looking for something from me, I do have a combat camp playlist on my channel. Look into it if you're interested. The last and most important topic of this video is to understand the summoning power that you have on your account. Not a lot of people like to think about this, but we don't have an unlimited amount of primogens either. Because of that, it's really important to understand how much summoning power your account has, as well as how many primogems you can earn every patch. After all, Genshin Impact is a collector's game that is way easier when you treat it as a marathon rather than a sprint. Some of you may be wondering, how many primogems do I get a patch? Per patch, as a free-to-play, you can expect to earn 8,000 primogems, which is 50 pulls. If you are BP Welkin, you can expect to earn about 12,000 primogems per patch. That's 75 pulls. As I'm sure many of you are aware, as a free-to-play, that's not enough to hit pity each patch. And as a BP Welkin player, that's only enough to hit soft pity once per patch. This is really important to understand. If you're new to Genshin and you haven't depleted your world of primogems entirely, then keep stock of how many primogems you can farm from your world, as well as how many primogems you can earn per patch. I see a lot of players not consider how long it'll take for them to save for a particular unit they want. They constantly wish and spend their primogems, and then when their favorite unit is 1 week away, it's too late for them to save. Make sure you save your primogems and make sure you have enough summoning power to snag the units that you really want. This will sound like torture to most of you, but I highly recommend, especially for a free-to-play account, that you save up enough primogems to guarantee a 5-star even if you lose 50-50. That's a lot of pulls. That's 180 pulls. But still, I think it's worth it just for the safety and the peace of mind knowing that if something drops on you last minute, you'll still be able to get it no problem. For those of you panicking about being able to clear Spiral Abyss, I just want to put that in perspective for you. That Spiral Abyss per month is only 1,200 primogems. Per patch, which is 6 weeks, you can expect 8 to 12,000 primogems. You can see that Spiral Abyss is actually a really small part of your primogem budget, and even if you're only able to clear floor 9 and 10, you're only missing out on 600 primogems a month. And yeah, honestly, that's it. Those are the 3 topics that I wanted to cover today. I wanted to cover the resin efficiency, making sure that you're spending your resin in the right places, and don't get stuck in one domain farming an artifact for one unit. It's a huge trap that a lot of players fall into. Number 2 was team building. Make sure that you understand proper team building and understand the elemental reactions in Genshin Impact. That'll help you so much more than you think. Tip or topic number 3 was to understand your summoning power in your account. Figure out how many primogems you're going to earn per patch, and make sure you understand how long it's going to take you to save for the unit that you want. That'll bring us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel, leave a like on the video if it helped you, and comment down below telling me what you learned. Pretty interested to find out. And as always, stay healthy, stay hydrated, peace.